YouTube? It's your man Black Sage 21, and today I just wanted to start this video off with a positive note. I was playing some team deathmatch a couple of nights ago, and just randomly just doing my thing. I was giving some advice to one of the players on my team about the map we were on, and after I finished playing the game, I received this message from PB and Jelly 73. And this is what he had to say. He said, "Hey man, thanks for helping out with less experienced players. That's really cool of you." Um, and I asked him, "Oh, thanks for saying that. Are you talking about my YouTube page?" Because I wasn't exactly sure what he was talking about at the time. He said, "No, I was on your team earlier. Heard you were helping that other guy. I think we were playing team deathmatch, and you were the one on the top for like 3 games in a row. You were talking to another player about not liking the map, but he would grow to like it." And then I said, "Okay, yeah, I remember. I normally get hate mail from people saying I'm a cheater because I be raping them. But thanks, man. That's nice of you to say. That's what I do on my channel. I like to help people, so I guess it just comes naturally." So then he's like, "Man, that's a really noble thing. I truly respect that. I was a noob not too long ago. I would have loved to have someone like you guiding me along. Don't let the hate mail get to you, man. Um, being talented, being talented has its share of haters." And then I just let him know that I was going to mention him in my video on Friday because I thought that was so nice, to actually get positive mail from somebody for once. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And without further ado, we're going to get right on into this next gameplay. Alright, guys, so we're playing on Redwood, and I've titled today's game How to Get 84 Kills in Call of Duty. Now, I titled it that way for a few different reasons. Number one, it's kind of catchy. It catches people's attention, and I'm hoping that people will definitely check this video out because I'm going to jam it packed full of informational tips. And of course, I'm going to break down my class and my strategy for pulling this off. Uh, just to give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about in this video. Like I said, we're going to be talking about my class, the specialists I chose to run with, the score streaks, but I'm also going to be talking a little bit about momentum, which I did get into in one of my older videos, but I'm going to kind of go over that and how it affects the enemy team's mental state, and then of course your team's mental state. We're going to talk about um, the map itself and why I was able to do this on this particular map. How different maps may affect the different setup you have. And I mean, that's kind of getting a little bit more technical, but I think it's something worth talking about because it's important and it can definitely affect the outcome of the match. We're gonna be talking about some of the enhancements or changes they made with the most recent patch. I did mention, you know, not necessarily liking everything they changed with the patches, but we're going to be talking about a couple of the things I noticed that I actually did like. And then I also want to talk about the placement of my sentry guns in this particular game, where I'm putting them, and what my, reasoning is for doing that. So I think it's probably best, let's go over my class, what I'm running right now. I'm playing with battery. Now, in case you haven't noticed, this is um, hardcore team deathmatch, and there's a huge difference in how you have to play in hardcore team deathmatch versus regular team deathmatch. And I know for a lot of guys they're gonna be like, "Duh, Sage," but I mean, honestly, I have met a lot of guys, even just playing with my friends and family, who don't really realize that they need to kind of redo their class when they change game modes, when they're on different maps, you know, when they're in different circumstances. Even depending on the type of people you're playing against, you may need to uh, have a class that is effective against the type of people you're playing against. I can go into more detail about that if I have more time, or I might just do another video and we might go. Yeah, we'll probably do another video and we might go into you know designing classes for different types of enemy players. So um, I'm running from my score streaks the Wrath, the UAV, and the Sentry Gun. And we'll go into more detail about why I'm running that in a second. On my weapon, I've got quick draw, stock, and a red dot. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's about it. Now, it doesn't really matter what gun you use, and that's why I really am not going into too much detail. I did want to, pull out a different weapon for you guys. I do play with pretty much all the submachine guns. One thing I do like in particular about this one is its large magazine. Sometimes you want to use extended mags, or sometimes you could just get a gun with a larger magazine, and that's one of the things I love about this weapon. It also has a really good smooth rate of fire. It's not super fast, but it's very controllable. And when I throw the red dot on there, for the accuracy purposes of it on hardcore, it seems to be really good. It's very manageable. And this gun I only run on hardcore. I don't run this gun on regular core. It's a little bit weak, especially in the state that it's in right now. So this is very specific to the hardcore game we're playing. Alright, so I want to talk about Redwood. Obviously, it's covered in trees. There's a lot of cover. There's a lot of from an aerial point of view. It's very hard to see any type of airship, any UAVs that you throw up, anything that's going to be flying above the enemy head is very hard to see. And I noticed that very early on because I would try and shoot down people's stuff with my, rocket, and I was having trouble just finding it. On top of the fact that it's kind of hard to see due to the trees and all the leaves and stuff, the Wraith, it likes to disappear. It likes to move. It has camouflage. It has that little flare thing that takes a rocket. I mean, it stays up in the air for a very long time. And now that they've patched it, I think it stays up even longer. So one of the things I used is the map. The Wraith does really well on this map. Alright, people had a hard time shooting it down. Also, the UAV is kind of self-explanatory. It's hardcore. You want to have a radar up. You want to know where the enemies are. Now, as far as my Sentry Gun, I place the Sentry Gun at enemy choke points. A lot of times what I like to do is I'll place the Sentry Gun pointing behind me to where the enemy was going to spawn when I push them. Because I'm very good at pushing the enemy around, and I can kind of decide what spawn I want them in. This is important because when they start respawning behind you or in the other spawn, that Sentry Gun is going to start picking them up instantly. The other thing is you want to get your Wraith as soon as possible. So your initial rush is very important. You want to go ahead and get your UAV, get your Sentry Gun set up real quick somewhere, at a choke point, and then also get that Wraith going and get the enemy confused, flustered, and upset. From the very beginning, and that way you have control over the momentum early on in the game, and it's not going to be any type of comeback situation, because in order to get 84 kills, you're going to need to be on top of your game the entire time. The other thing you want to keep in mind is not die, and I mean that kind of sounds self-explanatory, but the more you die, the less streaks you're getting, and if you notice in this game, I stacked my Wraith up several times along with my Sentry Gun and the UAV, and honestly the enemy team just did not have enough time to react to what I was doing. I really don't think my team did much in this game to help. Um, so I don't really think that, especially on this map with this setup, you don't really have to worry about what your team is doing too much. Just pay attention to my initial route that I run, and then how I move around in the map. I try to stay away from those platforms kind of on this left-hand side where people like to snipe and sit a lot. I don't do too well out there, so I don't like to be out there too much. And there's not usually a ton of traffic that way. I like to use that right side of the map where it's got that boardwalk where the water is, and I like to move back and forth between there, checking out this area that I'm in right now, and keeping everybody kind of mixed up and, being very inconspicuous. One of the buffs that they did in the update that I actually really liked was to the Cerberus. Now, I don't know, if you guys play with the Cerberus very much, and I'm definitely off topic as far as, this gameplay and how to get 84 kills. But I did want to mention this because the Cerberus is something that I actually like to run, especially depending on the game mode. The Cerberus is even a better score streak to run than an aerial attack weapon, because what ends up happening is if you're on a map where there's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of cover on the inside, your Wraith is not going to get any kills, you know. And then obviously if it doesn't have the cover of these trees and the foliage and stuff like that on this map, they're going to be able to shoot it down fairly easy, and that's frustrating because it's not an easy score streak to get. Whereas the Cerberus and the Sentry Gun, they're right next to each other. They're a little bit easier to get, and they both do work. And now that they've buffed the Cerberus, which, I mean, I honestly, I thought somebody had hacked it. Before I really understood what was going on, the Cerberus was running around, it was moving faster, it was targeting faster, and it was putting me down a lot quicker than what I was used to. So you guys definitely want to check out that Cerberus. Also, they buffed the GI unit, which it needed to be done. The GI unit it's so hard to get, especially in team deathmatch game modes. And so they buffed it, so now it's actually something that's worth using. I definitely think you guys should check that out. This gameplay is coming to an end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You learned something. Feel free to ask me any questions. Make comments. Don't forget to rate, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll let your boy Sage.